Okay. Hello, Obasi Posse. We have a lot of things to talk about. I have a lot of information here and I want to just kind of have a chit chat. So if you are driving home from work or just, you know, cooking, taking a shower, whatever, take a listen to the commentary we have here. Again, I'm going to play this as if it was a live until I'm able to do live streams again. So there's a lot of stuff happening in the Capitol right now. And there's a lot of things that I've been like, oh, I'm missing a book. Where was I reading it last? I'm missing a book that we need to talk about. Wait. Okay, I got him. I actually found another one that I wanted to briefly share. Okay, where do we begin? Well, we know everything going on in the Capitol, and of course there's so many rumors and stuff like that, and there's so many things going on over in Italy now, and I don't really want to mention anything about it. You can take a look at my community page here on YouTube. I put a Patreon video out regarding some audio I recommend you guys listening to and some other things, and I'm actually about to drop another video that has to do with some political schemes. I used to do that a lot on this channel if you've been here for a while, and I just don't anymore because through all my research, all my things, I was getting too involved with it, and at the end of the day, I fully believe it is a puppet show. It doesn't matter who or what side you're on. At the end of the day, I distance myself from it. It's a whole controlled theatrical act, a play, and I don't particularly want to be a part of it. With that being said, I still think that it's important to get a grasp on what is going on and always remain in the know with it, per se, because at the end of the day, it'll still most likely affect you and us, so it's important to know. So that is why I do put out videos on it still, but just keep in mind to focus on, whew, I have to sneeze. COVID. Just keep in mind that you stay focused on other things, okay? I've been getting a lot of questions to do, a lot of requests to report on the Iron Mountain. I have the book. The interesting introduction of this book, I took off the cover, was that it was saying it was a way to sell. It was basically a book that was written and validated just enough to sell, and it's a very, very debated book. And because it is so debated, the validity of the book, of the Iron Mountain Report, is extremely questionable. So the reason why I'm going to still put out a video is because whether you question the validity or not of this book, of the Iron Mountain Report, there are other books from completely different sources that go oddly and strangely like so well with what it says in here, on top of what we have experienced in history, as well as what we're experiencing in present day now that we are in 2021. Happy New Year, folks. So I want to start out with a book that I've mentioned several times on what is going on here, and I bookmarked it. Now when I'm reading this, I want you to think about what goes along with what I'm saying, and by the system down, it's referencing to bring the system down in the form of patriotic loyalty. Okay, it's very interesting, and this is a different book. So the book that I'm getting this information from is not the Iron Mountain Report. It is the Creature from Jekyll Island, which does actually make reference from the Report of Iron Mountain, but this is not that. So I want to read something here for you guys. The American economy is being deliberately exhausted through foreign giveaways, endless wars, etc. The object is not to help those in need or to defend freedom or preserve the environment. Okay, I'm going to read that again for you guys. The object is not to help those in need. Where do we see them helping us in need? We can think of stimulus. Or to defend freedom. Where do we see us defending freedom? Everyone in the Trump train. Or preserve the environment. Where do we see preservation of the environment? Well, we see climate change, Green Sabbath Day. We see the stuff happening with this. But to bring the system down. The object is not to help those in need or defend freedom or preserve the environment, but to bring the system down. When once proud and independent Americans are standing in soup lines, they will be ready to accept carefully arranged rescue by the World Bank. And what's going on is you're seeing the world banks, you're seeing the Federal Reserve start to issue out digital wallets. There's a whole thing about digital currencies. There's a major, I think, football player. I'm not into sports. I don't follow sports, so forgive me. It could be someone else. Panthers Okung becomes the first player to be paid in Bitcoin. So we're seeing the more rollout of digital currencies. I've talked on my Patreon. You guys know I do stocks and I have dabbled into the cryptos and what's going on with digital currencies. And I also just uploaded as well a newly redone YouTube video, if you haven't seen it yet, on basically the social credit score, but how in America we don't call it the social credit score. And I did a video on this in March of 2020, but it was taken down. So I kind of revamped it and re-uploaded it. Hopefully that it was good enough for the channel. But I do have all those other videos and things like that on my Patreon, as well as I tell you guys what stocks I get into, what cryptos I get into, basically like money, like financial news, although I'm not a financial advisor. It's just what I'm personally doing. Okay, so we see that. And there was something else that was very interesting. So what's going on here is that it says right here, to arouse human passion and patriotic feelings of loyalty to the nation's leader, no amount of sacrifice in the name of victory will be rejected. Resistance is viewed as treason, but in times of peace, people become resentful of high taxes, shortages, bureaucratic intervention. And when they become disrespectful of their leaders, they become dangerous. No government has long survived without enemies and armed conflict. War, therefore, has been an indispensable condition for stabilizing society. And this was also written in this, and it was also written in this, which was a book that I recently acquired. It's called Proofs of a Conspiracy Against All the Religions and Governments of Europe, carried on in the secret meetings of Freemasons, Illuminati, and reading societies. You guys know I've done videos on symbolism within the Freemasonry and stuff like that. And what a lot of people do get confused is that people think, for example, like Jewish Freemasons run the world. That's not true. There are people above them. Those and a select few of actual Freemasons are pawns to them as well. I mean, everyone, at the end of the day, everyone thinks everyone is doing something, but they're all pawns in this elite Satan controlling world. Okay, so if that wasn't interesting enough for you guys, many things that coincided with this book, and a completely different book. Prophecy by Sylvia Brown. I used to love her until I found out that she was literally just not a biblical woman. But the books go hand in hand with each other, and I've made reference to this book from her. If you guys don't know Sylvia Brown, she was a medium. And a lot of things that she had to say were very interesting. Some of them completely wrong and against the beautiful King James Version of the Bible, which you guys know I completely have full trust in. But all these books are tying together, and that's why I always recommend read things that you don't even agree with. For example, I don't agree with Sylvia Brown. I don't like her as a person because I feel that she is very blasphemous to our Creator and the Bible. But I read what she has to say sometimes because it is a good idea of reference, and you want to read things that you don't agree with all the time because you might be wrong and you might not connect things, and other things connect, if that makes sense. There's a few pages that go hand in hand. We were just talking about the economy, so let's stick with that. If you guys do have this book, it's on page 140. And if you guys have the Creature of Jekyll Island, I'm reading some of that content from page 516. If you have the Iron Mountain Report and the Proofs of the Conspiracy, I will reference those in a minute. Now, we were just talking about the economy. I'm saying that they're digitalizing. You guys know I did a video, I think in the summertime too, and it was a vlog, and it was entitled My Nerdy Vlog, and I went to Dunkin' Donuts, and you guys seen all those signs of saying that they don't accept cash and they want card because the virus could be on the cash money, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. If you guys didn't know, for every $100 that you have in your hand, 21 of those dollars were made in 2020. So it was $20, now it upped, since it upped a little bit to $21. Now, listen here. It says in Sylvia Brown's book, a few words about the economy. It says in 2020 will spark amazing resurgence in the popularity of the barter system throughout the United States. We become much more self-sufficient as individuals and as a nation, insisting on providing our own basic necessities and bringing our companies and our jobs back home. It's not so much an isolationist period as it is a period of economic and government restructuring. Now, what was interesting about this sentence right here is that in 2020, she knew everyone is isolating, businesses are shutting down, stuff like this. Why? Because all these different sources, these are people from different years, different eras, different walks of life, are coming to this same agreement. And they're saying, it's not so much an isolation period. Well, how would she know that? Okay, she says 2020, again, page 140, 141 right here, but a period for economic and government restructuring. Now, what do I think is restructuring? We're enrolling in digital currencies. We're enrolling in the blockchain. Everything's going to be tracked. This is what I personally believe. Blah, blah, blah. Society will turn into an interesting combination of a society whose technology is progressing at almost breakneck speed. Again, I mentioned this in my cybersecurity video and my new cyber pandemic video. Is progressing at breakneck speed, and at the same time a society that's redeveloped and improved on our passion for growing our own food, sewing our own clothing, and building our own furniture and houses. The reason why I find that interesting is because I believe that 2020 sparked a division between people. I went this particular way because I'm doing this, and I told you guys I want to grow my own food. I've been talking about that a lot. I'm looking for land. I'm going more like off grid. I just actually got this book. I wanted to show it to you guys. This is an awesome book to get if you want more of that prepper reference library, if you haven't seen that video. It's always good to have books like this, because the internet could always go down, stuff. You always want to have textbooks. You want to have books in your library. I firmly believe that. It's called How to Grow More Vegetables Than You Ever Thought Possible on Less Land with Less Water Than You Can Imagine by John Javons. So I got this off Thrift Books. If you guys want to check that out, I will put it on my website if you forget. Because if you guys didn't know, on my website I have a whole page of all the books. I need to update it. I always need to update it because I'm always getting new books. Now, so if you want those books, go ahead. The most conspicuous changes we'll see economically by 2020 are the end of IRAs, mutual funds, pension and retirement plans, and the stock market. I simply want to mention it to you, so I can't say I didn't warn you. And as for what it implies about the deficit by then, I'll leave that to you to draw your own conclusions. So that's very, very interesting. There's been lots and lots of talk about a stock market crash. I am currently in the stock market, but I am tiptoeing and walking on eggshells through it because it is just so crazy, you guys. Bitcoin, since Christmas, went up another $10,000. Absolutely insane. So that, I have a lot more things I want to say. I'm not going to get too much into religion today, although I want to. Blah, blah, blah. There was some other... let's put this aside. Oh, I hate cold tea. Now I want to go into politics for a minute, you guys. Politics are very relevant right now, especially what's going on in the Capitol. Okay. It says on page 135, if you guys end up again having this book in your library, about 2020 we'll see the end of a one-man presidency and the costly, seemingly perpetual cycle of presidential campaigns and elections. Instead, our executive branch will be essentially phased out and absorbed into the legislative branch, and it's through the legislative branch that we will exercise our democratic process. The legislature will be considerably streamlined to a body of elected representatives, an equal number from each state of the Union, vaguely resembling the ancient Roman Senate. Rather than Democrats, Republicans, Independents, the legislature, aka the Senate, will be divided into two groups, liberals and conservatives, who will sit literally, not figuratively, on opposite sides of a long aisle. Okay, so this is very, very interesting. Proposed laws will have to first be submitted and work their way through the series of screening committees. And when they're finally presented to the Senate by the committees, they will be debated and either pass or fail by majority vote. And every session of the Senate will be nationally televised. Now, the reason why this is so interesting is because we also remember that President Trump had said that he would be the last president. We also remember that there was this, if you guys haven't seen the book, there was literally a book entitled 1900 or the Last President. And there was another book, Barron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, 1893. Very strange to me how all these different sources and different books, and this is why I recommend you guys reading. If you see a book and you don't even know what it's about, just buy it. I mean, you know, give or take what's really going on in it. So, okay, so we have that form of information evidence. Is it true? Is it something that we could see happening? Well, let's go back to this one. In regards to climate change, this is interesting. It says it might even be necessary to deliberately poison the environment to make the predictions more convincing and to focus the public mind on fighting a new enemy, more fearful than any invader from any other nation or even from outer space. The masses would be more willing to accept a falling standard of living, tax increases, and bureaucratic intervention in their lives as simply as the price we must pay to save Mother Earth. As you guys know, Bill Gates, which we'll see probably it pass in February 2021, so in a month from now, the Scope X system where he wants to dim the sun even though we are in a solar minimum. Right now we're not in a maximum. The sun is dimming enough as it is. We are going to get colder colds, and he wants to dim it by putting all these different things in the atmosphere. Okay, I told you guys in my last live and in a video that I'm about to upload and in a previous video that the reason why he's doing this, I think, according to all my my research and following things, is because when you put more toxic debris, whatever the heck he's putting in the atmosphere, to dim the sun, it'll look like it's working because the sun is in fact dimming. Okay, that's what a solar minimum is. Look it up. You can look it up right now on Google, simple Google search. NASA's archives had talked about it from years prior, but now there's starting to be a little more hush-hush about it. He's emitting things through ScopeX, through this company called ScopeX, debris basically into the atmosphere that apparently reflect the sun's rays to help dim the sun, because again, we're in global warming and it's not true. Okay, it's not true. And the reason why this is a beautiful misrepresentation, disinformation of his story of why he's lying to you is because the sun really is dimming. So it'll look like it's working, but what is he really putting in the air that we need to worry about? And that's what we need to, so that video is coming. I will do that video, I think tonight. I have everything ready for it, and I'll do that tonight. And if you wanted to read more about it, I had another book. I actually have two books, but the other one I'm too lazy, I don't want to get it. But I mentioned this one in my other live. Dark Winter, again, on my website. Check it out. Okay, so that goes back to what we were talking about in this book. What I just mentioned when it said, the object is to not help those in need to defend freedom or preserve the environment, but to bring the system down, okay? That's why in the Capitol it also has on stained glass, order out of chaos. They bring order out of chaos. They create a problem to create a solution. Are we all following along? I know you guys are smart. I know you guys, sometimes I worry that I don't make sense. And I read a lot, and they all connect so well in my head, but to a person who's listening, they want evidence, which is great. You should always ask for evidence. You should always fact check me, see what's really going on. Always do that. Don't even listen to me because I could be wrong. I am human. I will be wrong sometimes. So I always recommend doing that. But but for me personally, it makes beautiful sense. It makes so much sense, and it becomes overwhelming because you want to explain it all, and then they're gonna be like, okay, well, how do you even get this? How do you even know? How are you so confident in these conclusions? And where did you get that? Cause I read, and then this book goes with this book, and this book goes with this book, and this lecture goes with this lecture, and these archives, you know, it all like, ooh, makes sense. Now, I've talked about aliens many times on my channel. Let's bring it up really quick. In this book, it also mentions it. In this book, it also mentions it. In this book, it also mentions it. And in this book, it also mentions it, although I don't know what page it was on. Maybe I can actually, okay. And these are all different, let me just tell you the dates. All different authors, all different sources. And these are only a few. I have more that coincide and go with this. Okay, so this was 1994, but they kept revising it up to 2010. I think I got actually the revised version, so let's pretend it's 2010. This book was written in 2004. This book was written in 1996. This book was written in 1798. Okay? Crazy. Now, I've mentioned before, and there's a lot of people in the truth community, again, be careful who you watch. For some reason, all this conspiracy crap is trending, and it's not, these people are kind of ruining the community, the truth community, I guess, because people don't read. They take a meme and they take one video and they think they know it all. And it's very dangerous, okay? I really take pride in knowing my facts and knowing where they came from. With that being said, in a previous video, well, I've done many videos on aliens, on extraterrestrials. Big, used to be huge into that. I had a dream, like a weird dream that I don't know if it was a dream, to be honest. It's a really interesting video. Check it out. It's like you gotta scroll all the way down in my older videos. If it's not there, that one should be. Some of them were taken down. It should be on my BitChute or my Patreon too. The salvage program. I have the whole document on the video. The video is still on, entitled "Why Are Aliens and UFOs Suddenly Going Mainstream?" This video was uploaded 8 or 9 months ago. And I was talking about why it's erupting again, which we've seen it erupt in the past. In the 70s, we've seen it. This has been an ongoing thing, just like climate change has been, just like wars have been, and political conspiracies, and it's just the same cycle, different story. What do I say? What do I say about the Bible too, guys? I always mention gods in the Bible, not our God, not the one and true God, Elohim, but gods in the Bible. It's always or the pagan stories. It is always the same structure: a mother god, a father god, and a son of God. 3 parts, and it is always the same gods, but a different name for a different historic era or different culture. It's the same thing played out over and over, and that's who runs it. Is the synagogue of Satan, which I talked about in my Canaanite video, how the Canaanite correlation with QAnon, it was a whole thing. I purposely put Q in that video to make it more relevant. So in the end, sometime in 2020, an accord between the extraterrestrials is reached. We slowly but surely open our minds to infinite amount of information they have to offer, not only about distant galaxies and distant universes, but other stuff in history about our own planet, blah, blah, blah. The reason why you shouldn't pay attention to the history of our own planet, it's going to go into very false doctrine, take you further away from God and the Bible. Study the Bible, study the Old Testament, KJV, and it talks about basically us accepting and starting to realize these aliens and extraterrestrials. Now you're hearing that everywhere. We heard about Israel admitting to it. We heard about Trump's space program that's ever increasing. We saw predictive programming with Storm Area 51. It is constantly getting little dibble dabbles into our brains through predictive programming and propaganda. Read this book. And that, my friends, is how things initiate into you. And that's the same thing what I'm talking about with the constant reading in newspapers and articles about cybersecurity and stuff like that, having to do with voter fraud and, oh, our cybersecurity. That's why I say on the World Economic Forum, if you haven't seen my cybersecurity new pandemic that's coming, check that out, please. This book says the same thing. An invasion by aliens from outer space was given serious consideration. And now they're referring to the report from Iron Mountain on what to do, what social cataclysm, what war, what great disaster could we do to bring more order out of chaos. And they say an invasion by aliens from outer space was given serious consideration. This is what the report said. And I'm going to, right here under section 3 in disarmament scenarios. Credibility, in fact, lies at the heart of the problem of developing a political substitute for war. So they're looking at this report and they're gathering around. And this again, if you don't agree, because there was so much debate about the Iron Mountain report, there are councils, there are elite meetings. The World Economic Forum, those meetings are literally one of the prime examples of that. It still goes on. Whether or not you want to believe 100% the Iron Mountain report, it happens, folks, it does. This is where the space race proposals, in many ways, so well suited an economic substitute for war, back when the moon was going on, when they were trying to get to the moon. The moon. The most ambitious and unrealistic space project cannot of itself generate a believable external menace. It has been hotly argued that such a menace would offer the last hope of peace by uniting mankind against the danger of destruction by creatures from other planets or from outer space. Experiments have been proposed to test the credibility of an out-of-the-world invasion threat, and it is possible that a few of the more difficult to explain flying saucer incidents of recent years were in fact early experiments of this kind. If so, they could hardly have been judged encouraging. They were basically saying that some people didn't react to the way they wanted to. They didn't get a big enough reaction out of the public that they wanted to provoke and enact, establish more control. So that's something that we have to keep in mind. With that being said, after they talked about the alien invasions, when they talked more about the climate threat. Now, the thing you should know about both the climate and the alien threats, the disarmament scenarios that they discuss, to again further keep this theatrical puppet show going, both politically and socially, economically, all of those things, is that there is in fact a solar minimum going on, and the solar minimum, because of its weak magnetic field, so when you have a weaker sun, the magnetic field is weak, therefore more radiation, stuff like this, comes through galactic cosmic rays, they call it, and it has adverse effects on the planet and the human beings. Now, with that being said, it could also cause weird cloud movement in pictures. If you guys ever seen a viral video of like a weird abnormal cloud, some people say it's aliens, some people say it's God coming down, it's revelations, some people say there's cities in the sky, stuff like that. Keep in mind, just to plant the little seed in your brain to check it too, because there are a lot of things that can happen with a solar minimum that cause very weird, like, mystery cloud formations, if that makes sense. So keep that in mind. Again, if you want more information on that, I will be uploading a video on that. Videos coming up. I have a whole lot going on, and I have them all written down over there. I will be doing a video on the centralized food supply, Luciferian doctrine. A lot of people are like, Mary, why are you so lots of Luciferian doctrine, and you guys need to become aware of it. I preach and preach and preach that you guys start to learn your Bible. I recommend the KJV. 1611 is really good. I'm going to do a video on why I choose the KJV in regards to other translations, because there is a lot of infiltration with the Bible. I don't like religion. Religion is for lost people. Religion is for people who don't know what's going on and where they want to go. I recommend a relationship with God. Beautiful, beautiful time. I'm addicted to it. I have been doing a lot of study for you guys, because I will be putting out more and more videos on different things that have been studying here that no one talks about, including pastors. Why do pastors not talk about these things in church? Mary, I go to church. Why don't you go to church? I'm doing a video on why I don't go to church, because so many people ask me what church I go to, since I talk about God all the time. And I say I don't go to church. I don't believe in church, and church is condemned in the Bible. And there have not been one pastor that I met who knows the word, because if he knew the word, he wouldn't be in church. And I will demonstrate that more and more in videos to get a little sneak peek hint on why I say that and the evidence I have behind that. Read the Bible or check out my Masonic video. And not to mention, the church is combined with the state. It's a 501c3 building, and they are all infiltrated mostly through the Roman Catholics. There's a lot of history behind that, so I'm going to talk about that. I'm really excited. I've been a little under the radar because I have been reading so much, you guys. I will be doing a video on women morality and stuff going on with women in society, and just like all these just the complete destruction of our patriarch. Disgusting. I will do I have a video, and it's so perfect what's going on in Italy right now with the Pope and the Vatican stuff. I'm doing a video exposing the Pope. In basically all my symbolism videos and my exposing celebrity videos and stuff like that, I've mentioned the Pope in a negative light, and there have been people who've been really upset with me because they think the Pope is a great person. Absolutely not. Very false. And I will be doing a video exposing the Pope. I have a great video upcoming for exposing false teachers like Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar, these like mainstream preachers. That will be dropping this week. I'm really excited for that one. That one took a long time of research and finding these videos and stuff like that. I will be doing a video on the Federal Reserve owning you. I have another one saying, the Trinity, and why I don't believe in the Trinity, and how it actually makes a hexagram. A lot of people don't know that. And then of course I'm going to do more on the climate change stuff, digital currencies, world war, world stuff going on, and I got a lot of content coming, you guys. I will update my website on the books that I have coming. I got more books, you know, and on top of that, if you guys want me, or if you want to request a video, go to my website, type in maryobasi.com. Right there on the homepage, there is a section where you could submit a video request. I had one woman do that for the bank bail-ins, and I did the video right away for her. I really appreciate your guys' feedback on that stuff, so don't hesitate to go check out my website with that. The website is still under a little bit of construction. I've been researching a lot. I haven't had time to do everything, so bear with me with that. And again, if you want to see what's kind of going on in the terms of the Capitol and these rumors that are being spread, don't pay too much attention to it and fear. I do believe they are creating, which I've showed you guys in all these books, distrust in the government, because the more distrust and the more emotional stimulus they get out of people for patriotic loyalty, and then they crush their hearts and, oh no, I've been betrayed, creates an emotional stimulus for further things to happen, like the 3-letter word starting with W ending with R, and riots and stuff like this. On top of, I really think that he will be our last president. There is a video I will be posting on Patreon as well with Biden and his son's laptop from China. So that's all I'm going to say about that, because I don't want to get censored even more. So that will be on Patreon as well. I haven't put it up yet. I got it actually maybe a week and a half ago, and I haven't put it up yet. So I will, but remember, don't give your whole heart into the whole patriotic puppet show stuff. Start to really understand the word. Once you understand this in its context, everything else makes sense and you feel peaceful. You need to get closer to God, because it's great. And I used to think it wasn't great, and that's why I'm like, no guys, you're being lied to. It's great. It's very accurate. And the reason why a lot of people think it's inaccurate is because they don't know how to define the context. They don't know how to go into the Old Testament and find the history. And I'm really excited to do lives and do studies. If you guys would like me to do studies here on this channel, I would love to. I was talking about that with one of the members in the Obasi posse. I've seen her comment on my channel a few times, and I think it would be a great idea. So if you guys are into that, awesome. And I think that's all I had to say today. So I'm going to post this for you guys right now. If you aren't supporting me on Patreon, please consider doing so. I do upload separate content and more censored content, political sensitive content, stuff like that, stock market type stuff. So if you aren't supporting me over there, I would love it. I research a lot. I mean, this takes a ton of work, so it would really mean a lot to me. And with that being said, I will see you guys in my next upcoming video. I'm Mary Obasi. Thank you for watching. What the heck? Have you guys seen what's going on at the Capitol? It's Penny. I just finished my video and then I look on the news and I'm like, what happened? Oh, I was recording. Okay, so this video was recorded right before all this chaos is happening over here in the Capitol. I mean, I was just minding my business recording the video. Now this stuff is happening, so just keep that in mind. The video was recorded before that. So I'm gonna get this uploaded for you guys right now because this is crazy. So maybe another update. We'll see.